Guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode on Midpoint. It is your host, Daylon. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all the subscribers. Thank you for your comments, for your like and your shares. I truly appreciate you guys. I'm really excited to actually being a little bit more consistent with doing these videos. They actually really helped me out a lot, and this was the main point of doing Midpoint. One of them is because I wanted to make sure that I do something that I actually love. I have these conversations with myself. I have these conversations with really very few and close people that actually genuinely knows me. And also, it's a great way that I can express what I've learned throughout my journey and connect with other people that think just like me, because I find it very challenging to have certain type of conversations with people because they don't have the awareness. And a lot of you are just still asleep. Some of them are awakened, and everybody's on their own path. But when we come together and we share each other's mindset and experiences, we can really grow and break past this kind of like ideology that we're stuck in, this kind of programming with this matrix, with this system, right? So the more people that we help to spread the message of awakening, of being your true self, being your godlike self, of course, the more we can have conversations that helps us to evolve instead of limiting ourselves to programmings that really just devalue us and doesn't empower us. All right. So with that being said, this video is going to be stages of awakening, pretty much based off of my experience, but I'm going to do it with a twist. I'm going to do it in a way where I tie it to the matrix. All right. I hope this works out. Here you go. All right. So let's jump in straight into it. First stage of awakening. I have my little notes here on my computer. All right, I'll be going through them, looking it over, and I made some like crazy little notes, but yeah, I ain't gotta worry about that. I have to worry about that. All right, first one, the catalyst. All right, first stage of awakening, I call it the catalyst. I also call this the knock from the Matrix. The first time he got the knock on the door. Remember when he was, this is from Matrix 1, of course. So remember when he was sleeping on his laptop, and Morpheus was speaking to him through the laptop, and then he pretty much was like, follow the right rabbit, and he was like, knock knock. I call that the knock, which is also the catalyst. Now the catalyst for me was pretty much, the catalyst, first let me define it. The catalyst is pretty much what triggered you to awaken, or what triggered you to kind of like have a mental shift. What triggered you to even want to develop and learn more about yourself, about who you really are, and even knowing and waking up to understanding that you're in the matrix. The catalyst, right? Catalyst is pretty much something that propels you to the next stage, to the next I don't know, I'm gonna keep it at the next stage. All right. So for me, my catalyst was pretty much watching this movie called The Secret that everybody was watching. And also I remember one time I took a trip to Georgia. I took a month trip to Georgia, and I linked up with one of my cousin's homegirl out there, and for some reason she was going back and forth. She was going through a lot of stuff with court and stuff like that, and she couldn't drive. And since I was the only one in the house and she had a car, I ended up driving her, which we were cool. I wanted to get around anyway. I was stuck in the house. And come to find out, when we went to this courtroom, we were sitting, because everybody got to sit back and wait for their time, right, to come and speak to the judge. And we were listening to this guy that came in and was pretty much representing himself as a sovereign being. I never heard of this before. I didn't even know that you could even do this. And he was just spitting stuff to the judge, like to the point where I wish I could have recorded it, because he pretty much debunked everything the judge was trying to say to him. I could tell that he still needed to learn a few more things, but I also knew that he was on that path of knowing who he is and knowing how to protect himself. So when he finished speaking, me and the girl was like, we're gonna go and speak to him. We're gonna go straight to him, because he said something and we were like, yo, you can say that to the judge. We went to go speak to him right after he walked out the room. We jetted out, went to the room, and I was like, yo, what's up? What were you saying to him? How do you know how to say this? He was like, yo, come if you want, you could come and be here and speak to this person. We meet, he meets with a few of us and teaches us about straw man, about who we are and all this extra stuff. And her and I, we called him, and then we met up with him like literally 2 days ago. It was like maybe 12 of us sitting down as he was speaking, and he started talking about knowing who you are, understanding that you're in the matrix, understanding what straw man is, understanding pretty much the laws of the universe, understanding the Vesica Pisces and the feminine and masculine aspects and energies, knowing, sacred geometry. Like, I have a book, I wish I had this book out, where literally everything he was spitting I wrote. So I know about so many books on sacred geometry, metaphysics, occultism, just from meeting up with him like once every weekend while I was out there. And I was only out there for a month. So my catalyst, my knock, was really listening to The Secret movie, and then after that going to Georgia, where I met this guy, and he just pretty much like opened up my mind to a lot of things. Now, of course, it's not up until later I really started to learn discernment. And if you're just now waking up, it's going to be a little bit challenging, because of course you want to learn a lot. I would like to say this. For me, whatever resonated with me, whatever I felt like sounded like it was right in my bones, in my spirit, in my blood, that's what I decided to do a little bit more research on. But I wasn't also like shying away from other information. I wrote down everything, and everything that I was called to, that's the direction that I went towards. It wasn't just like I took in everything and I went to go and study everything at once. No, literally, once you awaken and you start to listen to one video or watch one thing or see one book or read one book, other things is going to start unraveling according to how you're searching, how you're walking on your path. So don't worry about not being able to have all this kind of information. Everything is going to come to you when you're ready. When the student is ready, the teacher appears, right? And I also want to add this: don't limit yourself to who you learn from. You can learn not only from the people in the conscious community that are teaching you things, either on YouTube or some type of book if you picked it up from somebody. Whatever lessons that you learn in your own life, you could also learn from your family, you could learn from your friends, you could learn from your enemies, you could learn from your teachers, you could learn from a homeless person, you could learn from a rich person. Do not limit yourself. Do not limit yourself, especially right now in the age of Aquarius. Of course, there's a lot of information and everything. Just focus on what your spirit is resonating with, and don't limit yourself. Also, if you have one book on a topic, pick up 2 other books to cross-reference. You watch one video from one conscious person or one person that seems to be like spitting some information to you, go find out other people that's spitting this similar type of information and see what they say, and then compare. All right, don't just stick to one thing. So that's my catalyst. For Neo, he had the knock on the door where it pretty much was the beginning of his journey to awakening. All right, this is when he started going down the rabbit hole, following the rabbit. He met Trinity. He took a leap of faith, although he was a little bit scared to walk off the the ledge in the building. I would be too, even though I feel like I still would, but I would be too. Who knows? Who knows what you'll do when you're in that kind of position, right? But it was definitely the catalyst for the beginning of his transformation, going from blue pill to red pill. All right. Number 2. All right, number 2. Why did I say number 2? All right, the next part, second part, I would like to call it the false self or the jump. All right, in the Matrix movie, it's a false self or the jump. So in this, I wrote learning about Storman, society programming, NLP, and didn't want to operate under someone else's rules. All right, so for me, the false self was pretty much after I started to accumulate all this kind of information. Now I started to get like, for some reason, I felt like I started to get angry. I think it all depends on what information comes to you first. For me, what came to me first was the sovereign aspects, knowing who I am, Storman, and understanding the energies, understanding that I'm God, understanding that, there's universal laws that I need to operate within, and the law of mentalism is one of them. And it's like, who have you been really allowing to guide you in life? Because all of those are programmings in my mind, and I never really sat down to think about it. Man, I like all the things that I wanted to do, I didn't even accomplish because I was letting other people, even close families like your parents, deter you from doing the things that you really wanted to do. So now it's just breaking out of that false self. I became angry. I was mad at the government. I was mad at people that's telling me what they think I should be or do. I was really upset. So now separating my false self to just figure out, just eliminating the skin and the bones and the flesh and the blood, everything, just to come to the very core of who I am, to figure out exactly who I am and where do I start from that point. Sorry, the Haitian in me. The Haitian in me is coming out. So every now and then you're going to probably hear my accent. Yes, I'm born and raised from Haiti. I can't say raised anymore. I keep saying that, but I can't say raised. I don't give a damn. I was born in Haiti. I came up here when I was 8. Shout out to my T's, Haitien, sac passe. All right. So, yeah, false self. Back to that. I got a little bit. Let me grab myself. So I got to the point where I just started learning so much information about who I was. I was really pissed because I felt like I was being misled. I was misled by, those that I really considered people that would kind of like lead me in the right way. And then that's the whole problem with Christianity too. I think I'm going to do one of those New Age to Jesus videos, but in reference to me as being more spiritual, not being Christian like how I used to be, or I don't even say I used to be, what I used to go and do, because that really helped me a lot to break away from that, like really understanding about astrology and understanding what all of those 12 disciples were, when it's really like the zodiac signs, and really understanding deeper sense of who I am, not putting my power into someone else, not putting my faith into someone else, and putting it more into myself and into knowing that my intentions are pure and I'm here to evolve and experience and to grow. All right. So in the movie for Neo, his was the jump. So remember when he first took the jump, when it was like everybody falls. No, he's like, what if he doesn't? Everybody falls. Well, what if he doesn't? He fell because, to be honest, I think that was dope that he fell, because it really represents, like, anytime you learn something new, you will not get it right the first time. You will not be perfect. Nothing is perfect. Like everything else, you need to practice for you to get better. So that first sense of false self for him was learning all these things. He learned how to, do kung fu and do all of this stuff, and he started fighting Morpheus, and he started to learn the different type of programmings and things like that. And then the jump was the test of how much faith he has within himself, and he didn't have much. And of course, if you're just awakening, you probably won't have none either, because you're just coming from being a sheep to now being a wolf. You're born and now you're alone and you don't know where to go, and all you know is how to operate like a sheep. Dangerous situation. Dangerous. So that was his sense of false self, like jumping and realizing, man, what is going on? And remember when he fell, he was like, yo, get me out of here, like this isn't real. Like he couldn't really grasp everything that he was learning, because in a sense it's like he was upset, but he was also intrigued, but it was like detaching his false self into his new self. It's very hard to take. That pill is really very hard to swallow. All right, so the third part of your awakening will be questioning, or in the Neo aspect of things, the first oracle meeting. All right, so for me, mine was questioning. Let me see what I put. Flower of life, ancient Kemet, knowledge of self, light being, spirit body, questioning everything, what I am, where I am, why are my thoughts different, blah, blah, blah. So I was pretty much questioning everything. Who I was, why did I remember when I was younger, I always thought differently from a lot of the students around me. I'm very different from a lot of my family members. So it just really started to begin to empower myself, because I knew that It's not like there was something wrong with me. It's just that I'm here for a purpose. Everyone is. I'm not putting myself above anyone, but now I have a better sense of self-empowerment instead of like beating myself or being so harsh on myself for being different. Oh, there goes the rain. For being different. Sorry about that. But now I started questioning everything. Like I started to learn about the flower of life, about Vesica Pisces, about, you know, the Hermetic principles, about the laws of Ma'at. I just started asking about so many different things, like why do you have to go to school for this? Why do you need a title? I always used to say this when I was younger and didn't even understand why I was saying that. You don't need a title to be a midwife. You don't need a title to be a teacher. You don't need a title to be a doctor. You don't need a title for any of these things. But then when you start to learn the structure of this reality, then you understand certain things are placed for you to accomplish to get into a different type of like realm. However, if you're studying the same type of materials as these people and you don't pay all those student loans that keep you in debt and homeless and damn near mentally restricted for the rest of your life, you can accomplish the same kind of knowledge as well. As long as you believe in yourself, you have the patience, you have the drive to do so, if that's something that you really want to do. The other problem was all these things that I wanted to do. If you're not certified, licensed, or whatever, you can't operate in this kind of reality. So it's like now learning how to play the game and playing it to win, and not necessarily not playing at all. Because if you don't play, you lose, and if you play to lose, you lose. So you need to learn how to play to win. So I just really started questioning a lot about not only why did this new information come to me during my catalyst stage, also questioning myself about who I am and why I'm so different from everyone, but now really learning about everything that's coming to me. You know, learning about the law of vibration and then bringing those things into me, manifesting those things and questioning that. Because even though I was learning, it's not like I kind of like just took it all verbatim. I was still trying to understand, and I think because I was still trying to understand, and the fact that I'm just very inquisitive, naturally inquisitive anyway, I was questioning everything. Even if I got the information and it resonated, and I was like, well, why? That around this time I was asking why a lot. Why is this? Why is that? Well, why is that? Well, why is that? Like I would go deeper and deeper and deeper into my why. As far as like Neil, his first oracle meeting was his stage, you know, questioning who I am. Why would you think I'm the one? Like, what am I? Like, even seeing the first sign up top of his head that says know thyself, and really just pretty much questioning why the matrix is here, who created it, what is the purpose, what is my purpose, that, you know, that's that stage. So you go from something striking you to awaken to getting thrown a whole bunch of information where it over bombards you, and you have to kind of like determine who am I, like knowing what the full self is, and now to start delving into these things a little bit by little bit, and questioning what they are, how they operate, you know what I mean, moving into your journey, and in other words, going up the ladder in your self-awareness, in your evolution, in your Christ-like self, aka your Christos, aka Jesus Christ. That's another video. Introspection, hermit mode, Morpheus capture. Alright, so now the fourth part of your awakening, I call this introspection mode, hermit mode, okay? Also known as the Morpheus capture in the Matrix movie. So during this time, I'm just reading off my notes real quick. For me, relapsed a few times, no ceiling, no ground, what I wanted to do, I didn't do, and I am, what I really am, limited contact, meditation, heavy, vegan, stop perming my hair, reptilian. All right, so introspection, hermit mode. For me, I believe this was when I first started to do the work within myself, learning all those information and now applying it to myself. So around that time, I started learning about, all those things I mentioned, chemicals, how it's bad for your hair. So I stopped perming. And then I was like, dang, I'm putting chemicals directly on my brain. My pineal gland is right here. That's probably the worst thing that I could possibly do. Knowing how this body functions, right? I started heavy meditate. I was meditating every single day. I remember at that time I was talking to someone, and I think he obviously saw the change, and I don't think he was feeling it. He was, to me, he wasn't completely supportive, but it's not like he bashed me either, but he just wasn't very supportive. But I started to like meditate heavy. I decided to go vegan on Thanksgiving, y'all. After the turkey was made and I helped cook the dinner, all right? And I decided that day I'm not eating any meat at all. No cheese. I didn't have the macaroni and cheese, nothing. I had probably rice, some vegetable, because we like to make like this spinach casserole thing. And I don't know, something else, but I decided that day, like, that's it. And I did that for 3.5 years. I didn't eat meat for 3.5 years. I really started to go within myself, asking myself questions, like, trying to get more in tune with my spirit guides, and learning about chakras and how to implement them, learning about different type of meditations and mantras. Like, this is the time where I did my Deepak and Oprah kind of like meditation series. I did a video on that, so you guys can check that out. This was really when I was really going into myself. All right, this is when you start to apply the information. This is when you start to go into yourself and learn more about what you like, what you don't like, learn more about what you do want to create, learn more about how to use your powers, how all of these universal laws actually apply to you in this reality. It's not just learning about all of these metaphysical things or outside the norm, outside the world things, but more so now, how do I apply it into this physical reality, right? To some extent, or at least looking at myself and envisioning myself applying it. Like, where do I start? Like, seeing it first. Not necessarily doing, but just seeing. All right, how do I apply the law of mentalism? How does this affect me? The law of vibration. How do, like, sitting into myself doing that. So in Neo, his was the Morpheus capture. So remember when they was going through the walls and they captured Morpheus, and you had to go in to find to get Morpheus out of that building in the helicopter with Trinity. I call that the introspection, because right before that he was really just kind of like staying within himself, and he was kind of quiet, and after that fall he took a really big rest. That's around that time. And then when he finally decided, he didn't really have like that kind of conviction within himself to know that he was the one, but he definitely, after seeing the oracle, took a chance and decided to go back, take in Morpheus, and then come back in. So that was more like him practicing and seeing it in his mind, knowing that he could save him, having that kind of like faith and putting that work within himself. But he doesn't really know how he's going to implement this. He doesn't even think he's the one. He just knows that somewhere, somehow it's going to work. Somewhere, somehow, he's going to try to do his best. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing with me, introspection, doing all that kind of work. Somewhere, somehow, you're going to change, and you're going to evolve out of this. You're going to become who you've always meant to become, who you already have been all along, instead of following what other people have been telling you. Even if it's not the one, it's still at least someone that got a little hint, got a little like gut feeling, and wants to implement the things that he's learned so far. It was kind of like a test to me. I feel like it was like a small test for him. I feel like it was like a test to himself as well. Not necessarily to confirm that he's the one, but more so to know that if everything I've done blue pill all my life, at least if I'm gonna try to do something with red pill, and let me at least try one thing, even if that means saving somebody else's life. I wanted to also add, little did he know, doing introspection work for me as well, and for him during the Morpheus capture, that he was actually going to get that boost, that battery that he needed to really truly believe and see that once you have a little bit more faith in yourself, like Morpheus says, there's a difference between talking the talk and walking the walk. So yeah. Okay. Red pill vision. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, number 5. I call this the red pill vision or the awakening, right? In the Matrix, this would be when Neo is born, when he got shot and stopped the bullet. I call it Neo's born. What's his name? What's the other guy? What's the other name that he went by? Thomas Edison? Whatever. He died, but Neo was born. So this is what I call that, when he stopped the bullets. All right. So this is the red pill vision awakening. I'm going to read just a few of the quick little notes that I made. So manifestation practices, telekinesis practices, it's working, knowing spirit guides, doing what I want, not harming or injuring anyone, marching to my own drums, letting go of expectations of future and regrets from the past, no emotional programs keeping you hostage, living accordingly to the light, everything you think and do is balance and harmony, unlimited potential and talents, meditate as a lifestyle and it brings you joy, no longer used to seeking for something, you now know the secret is to live in the now. So, and also, when I read those things really fast, it's really for me, but I wanted to read it out loud. So if you catch some things, great. I wanted to read it out loud so you can hear, the little notes that I put in. But it wasn't for me to just focus on them because I go a little bit more into them after I say them, right? So red pill vision. So now, for Neo, let me start with me. For me, the red pill vision and the awakening, this is when you start walking in the truth. You start to use all the universal laws, not all of them, at least some of them anyway, like the basic ones, the first ones anyway, knowledge, understanding, having wisdom, the law of mentalism, the law of vibration, things like that. Now you start to implement these things with your own energy, you start to manifest certain things. So now you start to have a lot more confidence. You start to believe in yourself more because you start to see that this is real all along. And this information came to you because you called it to yourself. So you have this kind of power, right? So now you're just evolving. You're becoming better. You're eliminating some old programmings. You're going back into yourself to kind of like figure out if anything that triggers you and it gets you upset, emotional, which causes anxiety or depression. Now you're just like, okay, why? Let me dig deeper. Now you probably start to have dreams. You probably start astral projecting around this time as well. You start to like tap into like ancestral information. You start to get dreams that kind of like guides you into things that's going to happen. Twice I had like very prophetic, 3 times, actually many times, but 3 times that I could definitely remember I had prophetic dreams that really immediately showed me what would happen like within a week. After I had the dream, something would happen and I would automatically relate it to the dream. There's many other times where I had dreams and nothing happens for some time, but I could recall that. So you start to have these kind of like your gifts, so to speak, show themselves to you, right? You probably find yourself in and out of the matrix a lot. I found myself sometimes, for a long time, after I had a fitness business, I stopped doing everything completely during this time when I was meditating, and I started to become a lot more aware because a lot of things has changed for me. Who I thought I was, I no longer am. It's still a part of me, but now it's on a greater scale. So let's say, for example, back in the day, I used to sell meal plans and workout plans, 2011, before everybody and their grandmother started to do it, all right? Fitness Ladies, that was the name of the company. But now, I was still all for meal plan and workout plans, but now I rather work with people one-on-one. Now I know a lot more about energy, about Reiki. I know a lot more about chakras, and I understand it's not just about being fit physically healthy, it's also mentally healthy, emotionally healthy, spiritually healthy. You got to be all of these things for you to live a balanced life, because if you're not, just because you lose 20 pounds this month doesn't mean you're going to maintain it, because you're stressed out about something that's causing some type of emotional trauma to your body, which now will cause some type of physical ailment or disease, which is also associated with some type of spiritual imbalance within yourself, and now is going to cause you mental stress. So there's a lot of things that work together hand on hand. One thing gets, just one thing, if one thing gets if one thing falters out of the entire system, it's like your body. If your digestive system doesn't work, you're going to have problems. If your lymphatic system doesn't work, you're going to have problems. If your reproductive system don't work, you're going to have problems. Like, all of them work together. And one thing falters, the whole system crashes. It may not crash in a week, it may not crash in a year, but over time, and probably sooner than it should, it will crash completely. So I'm saying that to say now I have a lot more of an understanding of who I am, what I'm here to do, and how to operate, and still continue to keep growing and learning, because these things are also changing. So this is where I had a hard time of letting go of being what is called a hypocrite, because I would say one thing and then next week, next year, next month, next day I'll change that, or it'll be something different because new source of information for me, when that is completely fine. That is called flowing. It's not called to be a hypocrite, because if you're staying stagnant in one way of thinking, not only are you not going to be moving forward, you are dying. That's a fact. All right. So for Neo, he was born, he stopped the bullets. This is when he started to see the glow around him. He started to believe in himself. He knows, like, he is tired and fed up. Like, I was tired and fed up of doing the same things over and over again. I knew we're not here to work and to live. I knew we weren't born here just to grow up, just to go to work and then collect unemployment after, and then get a house, a white picket fence, and somebody to marry and have 1.5 children with a dog, and then be happy. I knew something was wrong with that formula, and I knew it's probably fine for a lot of people, but it wasn't fine for me. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying that there's more to it than that. Like, I want to learn how to do different things. While people are trying to stick to this, I'm trying to do more things. Like, don't you want to learn how to speak through your mind, telekinesis? This is when I started to learn about that. Don't you want to learn about neuro-linguistic programming? Don't you want to learn about how these energies actually really function? How your environment and the things in your environment affects you in your daily life, the music you listen to, the people that you live, your environment, the things that are cluttering your room, not having plants in your room, the people that you surround yourself with, the things that you're hearing, the things that you're watching, the TV shows, films, whatever, all these things affect you. So I had that kind of understanding, and I was just tired of doing the things that were no longer, like, I was fed up of doing things that was pretty much making me regress or not helping me to evolve in my spiritual self. So same with Neo. He was stopping the bullets. He was done believing that he was Thomas Edison, like, it's not working for him. He knew something was wrong. He was bored out of his mind, and he started to make a change, and he started to really have faith and believe in himself. All right. Last one. Are you ready? Are you ready? You know what's funny? This is the 6th. I didn't even realize I did 6. I just wrote it according to what I was thinking in my mind. But this is the 6th and also the last one for, it may be different next year. I may do a whole nother video and add 7. In 5 years, I may do a whole nother video and only make it 3. Who knows? But this is the 6th one on your stages of awakening. And it's funny because I think it's hilarious because my life path is a 6. It's a 33, actually. And it's funny how we do things that, like, there's no coincidence to anything. It's funny how we do things that just pretty much sync up with your path when you start to, like, really pay attention. I love that. All right. Transcendence, number 6 and last one. I call this a transcendence. I also even put, I guess it's transcendence for me and Neo, apparently, because I didn't put another name for Neo. So listen to this. This is what I put for transcendence. Into transcendence into machine world as light, save Zion, Phoenix in the sky, MidPoint balancing lifestyle, MidPoint the channel, balancing lifestyle, being in the moment, manifesting new life, learning, growing, and releasing, living accordingly to understanding and wisdom, know self, consciously creating life, work, and play merge. You know your purpose, or whatever you create your life to be, guided through inspiration, aka the spirit, through enthusiasm, aka in God. Woo. All right, so transcendence. Let's look up the word transcendence. I already know my definition of transcendence is pretty much to grow out of a state of being, to evolve into a state of being. Like you transcend. Like, you guys ever watch that movie Transcendence? I think there's a movie called Transcendence. Let me see. Movie Transcendence, I think. With what's his name? He's one of my favorite actors too. Hold on, y'all. Man, oh man, oh man. With Johnny Depp. Really good movie. Very, very good movie. You guys should definitely check it out. Transcendence definition. The quality or state of being transcended. That's not a good definition. Surpassing others. Preeminent or supreme. Lying beyond the ordinary range of perception. I like that. Lying beyond the ordinary range of perception. So your perception has evolved. You are no longer perceiving things from a lower vibrational state. You're no longer perceiving things from a conformed state of a society or of a world or of an agenda or of a programming. You are evolving, or should I say transcending, into a higher state of consciousness, a higher state of knowing. You're no longer operating in the this or that type of frequency. You are now operating in a this and that. All right? If that makes sense. Let's go back to my little notes. Oh gosh. Please, I hope. Okay, transcendence. So yeah. Sorry. So now it's like, now you're balancing both hemispheres of the brain, right? You're utilizing the pineal and the pituitary gland. The milk and the honey is coming together, traveling up the spine to pretty much trigger the light from within, to pretty much trigger the crystals. The milk and honey is pretty much the crystals that's going up the spine to pretty much trigger your Christ-like self. Now you're living in self-actualization. Now you understand that everything that you're living in the now. Everything that you create, you enjoy, you experience. It could be good, it could be bad, it doesn't matter. You're just experiencing and you're learning. You're not attaching yourself to anything of this dimension. All right? You're pretty much transcending your old ways of thinking. You're checking yourself based on, let's say you always constantly did something. Now you could catch yourself a lot quicker. You responded a certain way. Like I remember, I ain't gonna front, sometimes me and my mom will bump heads a lot. And then there's times where she would say something or do something and it would trigger me and I would be so upset. You know, and now it's like, why even get upset? One thing that a close friend taught me is to always ask myself, whenever something triggers me, like, am I injured? Am I harmed? No, I'm not physically injured. I'm not harmed. Okay, so then what's the problem? What's hurt? Your ego, your emotions. Your emotions is an actual physical thing that could be bruised? No, so then figure out what it is that is causing that pain from your ego. Like, why is that triggering you? It's obviously from another type of situation that you didn't heal, because nothing should be triggering you. So I always ask myself those kind of questions. Am I injured? Am I hurt? Am I harmed in any way? Nope. Then evolve, learn, figure out why you're being triggered, you know. So now in transcendence, you're changing your behavior patterns. You're operating in a higher state of vibrational frequency. You want to, and this is going to be very difficult. This is probably, I want to say maybe around the false self. You probably already start to lose a lot of friends and family. You know, like you probably will. I wouldn't be surprised if already by the catalyst you do, because you don't know what's going on. But a lot of people don't either. But so the false self and the questioning stage, I think that's when you really start to like lose a lot of people. So around the transcendence, around that time, you might be very sad because you're like, dag, I'm losing people, I don't know what's going on with me, blah blah blah. In transcendence, you're just like, I'm not gonna front, for me it still affects me a little bit, but that is not as much as it used to. This stage is a forever stage. I don't think there's a deadline to this stage. This stage, and also the awakening stage, the stage before, the red pill vision awakening stage, these stages, they last a lot longer. At these stages, I could say they could be from 10 years until you transition, okay? Because it's a lot of work that we have to do. It's nothing that you're gonna be so great at and you're gonna achieve. This is not something that you achieve. This is literally a journey. You're doing this every single day because there's so much energies and so many things that's coming at you that don't want to see your light shine, that don't want to see you talk about the things that you're talking about. And you know, as long as you know that you know who you are and the things that really bring you joy, you do them, nothing really matters. Your intent behind the things that you do is pure. It's for your awakening. It's for your evolution and the state of evolution of the minds of others around you, especially those that resonate with my information. Then really, why does it matter what anybody else thinks? You know what I mean? It really shouldn't matter at all. It doesn't. Ain't nobody paying your bills. Ain't nobody like helping you with any type of like expenses and any type of like benefits. Nobody buying you trips, and like no one is doing anything for you to make your life better. So you do it for yourself. All right, this is that stage. That stage is, you're not looking for Jesus Christ to save you. You understand that Jesus Christ is within you, is within your mind. This is a kind of like Christ-like self you develop to grow into. That energy is within you. God is within you. God is all around you. This is not someone outside of you that you're constantly trying to find if they could help you or save you. I'm not even here to help you or save you. I'm only here to possibly give you some information that I have that helped me, and hopefully you go and implement, you go and vet it out. I don't want you to just take my words just for you know, funs and giggles. Like, go and vet it out, figure out what works for you. Because the one thing I realized in this journey, and I think I'm not going to front, like from when I was young, I realized that, you know, I used to be like, Dad, she's all mature now. She's all this, she's all that, he's all this. And I used to be like, yo, what am I missing? How do I do this? Is like, how do they do this? Like, and then I realized a lot of people were just faking it. A lot of people were just pretty much following somebody else. A lot of people didn't even know what they were doing. And it's not to knock them. It's like, I should have been faking it as well. So now I am, however, I am more understanding of how I present myself, and the things that I do and how I manifest them is really important to me. So I need to put in the work daily to make sure I do that. You know, for a long time I used to feel like a lot of people had the answers, and they ain't got the answers, man. All right. Not everybody got the answers, okay? And in fact, everybody has the answers for themselves. Everybody has the answers for themselves. But a lot of us are here and have a lot of the courage. There's a lot of people that I've listened to, that I've watched, that helped me. So the whole point of this is like, a lot of us do have the courage to come and teach this, to come and share this. And it's not like this is verbatim what you need to do, because there's no book on life on how to live on your higher spiritual self. You have to find that within yourself. But the information that resonates with you from people from the conscious, from the awakening community, I'm tired of saying conscious community, those who are awakened, be careful. The most important thing I would say is to be discerning of what you hear, and really increase your level of awareness and increase your higher vibrational frequency, so that you can have better discernment and knowing what's for you and what's not for you. And just because something is for you today doesn't mean it will be tomorrow, and vice versa. It might not be for you today, but you might pick up on it next year. You never know. Just be open-minded, flow, but understand that the whole point, if you are resonating with this information, is to raise your level of vibrational frequency. You are more than your physical body. You are beautiful light. You are here to express and experience yourself here. You are here to share the knowledge. You are here to grow and evolve. You're just here to experience. All right? So So yeah, so those are the 6 stages of awakening by your girl Daylon, aka MidPoint. It's all about balance, man. I don't want to make this video any longer than it probably already is. 42 minutes, oh my gosh. And this is just this. I still have the beginning clip that I have to add on. I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't even know this was going to be an hour. So you have the matrix, aka, you have the catalyst, the first stage of awakening, aka the knock. You have the false self, aka the jump. You have questioning, aka the first oracle meeting with Neo. You have introspection or hermit mode, aka Morpheus capture. Then you have the red pill vision or the awakening, aka stops bullets, Neo stops the bullets. And then the last stage of awakening, which is transcendence, which again, the awakening and transcendence, I feel like is constant, is forever, until you transition up on out of here into your higher self. So that is it. I would love to expound a little bit more. I just feel like I don't know how long y'all attention span is. This is already too damn long. I think I'm dead ass about to like break up these videos into 6 videos. I'm still gonna put the full video, but I'm gonna make like 6 little mini videos because I did not expect this to be so long. I mean, I did, but just rock with me, all right? Just rock with me. I wanna rock with you all night. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Please like this video, subscribe, please share it, comment below. Let me know what you think about the 6 stages of awakening. Let me know if you resonate with this kind of information, if you want to see more. And if anybody else actually, if you know anyone that's just awakening and probably need a little bit of help and you find this was helpful, just share it with them. All right? I appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching. Peace.